Welcome to Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports, where husky middle-aged men share insight on the latest Baltimore sports news. From the bank to the yard and beyond, we're breaking down the Ravens, Orioles, Terps, and more. Baltimore's best sports podcast starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports. Jason, John, and Mike all here again together for the first show of 2026. John's making goofy ass faces. Mike is just being Mike. So, very, I don't know how to explain this. I'm very anxious. I'm like ready for this. I've waited all day for this game to happen. Ravens Steelers, do or die for all the marbles. I don't know how many more cliches I can say, but yeah, I mean, Mike, I've been waiting all 2026 for this game.
I don't know about the marbles. Marbles is a great game, but I don't need marbles. 2026. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, everybody out there. I'm excited about the game tonight. I am a little nervous though, Jason. I don't have great feelings, but I think it's more of a all year long. It's hard to just put expectations on this Ravens team. Every time you start to build momentum and they start to do things that are positive, all of a sudden they take a step backwards and do something that you just didn't think was going to happen. So I can't get a feeling or a pulse on what's going to happen tonight. So I guess I'm just going to watch with a bucket of popcorn with low expectations and just pray to the good Lord that the Ravens win. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, John, your services are no longer needed, so you can just sit over there and look pretty because I have zero interest in hearing what you have to say since you wanted Tyler Huntley to play this game and you wanted the Hall of Fame quarterback, future Hall of Fame quarterback, two-time MVP in the most important game of the season to sit on the bench. So I'm going to give you a quick rebuttal, and then I may or may not let you continue after that.
Well, you guys have to remember I have a frontal lobe brain trauma from a car accident. So some things that come out of my mouth are not exactly what I actually mean to say. So it doesn't always come out it doesn't always come out clearly or well thought out. So after having reviewed and done my homework and reviewed it, I want to kick my own ass because Lamar Jackson is the greatest quarterback since Johnny Unitas to step foot on a field in Baltimore, Maryland. So if you think that anybody other than Lamar Jackson should be on the field, then you need to have your brain examined, and you probably should never wear Ravens gear again.
Listen, Benedict Arnold, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it because you, my friend, are the type of person that the second Lamar makes a mistake tonight or something turns out, you're going to be like, I told you guys. Listen, hon, first of all, it should be Joe Flacco. Second of all, Tyler Huntley should be in this game, and we should go ahead and get 3 draft picks for Lamar Jackson. I'm not buying your bull crap. Okay, I get it. Mike and I will watch the game knowing who should, no matter what happens, win, lose, or some weird tie, which I don't think technically can happen.
No ties. No ties are bad for the Ravens.
Right.
Ties are like kissing your sister.
John.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Appreciate that comment, John. Look, how did getting rid of Sam Darnold this year work for the Minnesota Vikings? Just curious. And he's not Lamar Jackson. Didn't work out very well, did it? Okay, so your whole trade Lamar thing, we just need to cut him off, Jason. I don't know how to do this respectfully. With all due respect, it's in the Geneva Convention, right, Jason? We got to move on from John's commentary on this, right?
I don't know what to do with my hands. I mean, look, just for a little background on this, I was speaking with friend of the show, Jim Misfording, today, and our friend Alfonso. And just so you all are aware, I happened to tell Jimmy says, I can't believe you Baltimore fans with a Lamar Jackson. I said, do not lump me in to this Lamar Jackson's got to go nonsense. If you would have listened to the last show, you would have known that John was the one that says we should get rid of him for 3 draft picks. We should go ahead. Tyler Huntley's the one. And then I happened to say, yes, friend of the show, Jim Isfording, just ask him how it's like to be a Browns fan and not have a quarterback. But just so you know, John, you are not alone in these feelings of the Tyler Huntley starting. Our friend, my dear friend, my youngest child's godfather, Alfonso, also thinks that Tyler Huntley should start. So everyone's entitled to their opinion. I don't necessarily agree with your opinions, but I guess we will see in just a few hours here who was right and wrong. Yes, John.
Well, here's kind of as I was working on the segment that you guys so graciously handed to me. I was doing some research and doing some deep thinking. And deep thinking, like, is a Lance Craner thing. We think deeply about it. And the thing that I'm thinking is if the difference between Lamar and Huntley is this: Lamar goes to the line with a lot more options than Huntley. Huntley goes to the line with one, maybe two plays. Lamar goes to the line, reads the defense, and can change the play, right? So at Green Bay, does Lamar's playing this? Does he call the right play at the line? Does he audible? Where Snoop just says, "Okay, we're going to turn around and hand the ball off to Henry and let Henry go." So I wonder if any of that has anything to ever do with Henry not getting the ball. Does Lamar go to the line and see the field differently than Huntley does? And then Lamar audibles out of the run to Henry? Because I haven't heard anybody talking about this.
I mean, I think no one's talking about it because the Packers, that was a game that meant nothing to the Packers, no matter what happened. Okay, they went out there competing, made it a close game, but it wasn't a game like I'm pretty sure Love would have played. Like they would have forced people into that game if it really meant what it did. So to me, I mean, Huntley did everything you could ask for in a backup quarterback, and he had a great game against the Bears when they needed to win. But when it comes down to Lamar Jackson versus Tyler Huntley, I mean, look, guys, Tyler Huntley was out of a job for a reason. Okay, he's a backup quarterback. Let's not. I don't get Baltimore sports fans are the biggest fans of backup quarterbacks. I mean, for years it was Stoney Case and Eric Zaire, and then it was Joe Flacco when he was backing up Lamar. Look, if Lamar loses tonight, everyone's going to be calling for his head, and it's just not his fault. Even if it is his fault, if he throws an interception at the end, it's still not his fault. Okay, the guy's a little rusty. He came off these things. You can make the same excuses on one side that you're going to make on the other. So I personally am not making any excuses for the man, but if all the marbles on the table, like Mike said, we're not allowed to play with marbles, but if we did,
It's weird.
everything on the table, that's like saying killing two birds with one stone. Like who goes out and kills birds? Like
Who
why?
plays marbles or kills birds? I
I
don't do
don't
either of those
understand.
things. I mean, remember jacks? I don't play those anymore with the ball and the little twiggy looking things. I don't know what. I think these are antiquated statements. We need to come up with some new things.
That's fine. I mean, I don't mind being in charge of that for our.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm gonna
take
lay
one
all
for
my
the U.S.
Pokemon cards down at once. I'm gonna put them all
Yeah.
down. I don't know if you can do that in Pokemon, but I'm gonna do it.
I don't even know what
But
the hell.
Jay-
Anyway, what do you want
Jason,
now?
Jason, I was just speaking kind of in general, not just for
Stop
last
it.
week's.
It has been
Not
said.
just for
It is
last week's
over.
game.
You do not get to speak anymore. Go away. You have now pissed me off. That is for you, John. Okay. So so Ravens Steelers tonight, Sunday Night Football, up for not all the marbles. it
Some of the
is the whole shooting match, Mike. But I mean, personally, it's short and sweet for me. I do think the Ravens win as long as they don't shoot themselves in the foot and make that real big that play that is going to haunt you, whether it's an Andrews drop in the end zone, whether it's letting somebody loose that shouldn't have been loose down the middle of the field, something like that. But Mike, for me, if they play the way they've been playing recently, they get to the quarterback a little, they protect their quarterback. It all's in the trenches. It's all in the trenches. I do think they manage and win this game.
I think they need to play from ahead, Jason. I just think they need to score first and then keep the lead, because if you're playing from behind, that means you're passing the ball a lot more than you want to. And then that's when their pass rush gets nasty, pins their ears back, and causes chaos. So if I'm the Ravens, my game plan is to score early, take the ball, go down the field and score, and then run the football as much as humanly possible to just keep time of possession, keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. The dink and dunk offense of the Steelers isn't really meant to come back either, if you think about the way they play football. So, I mean, the game plan should be simple. Do I trust the players? Yes. Do I trust the coaches? No. So I don't know if they'll execute it. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, to me, I think this could be an opportunity for Walker and Hopkins, I think, to get a lot of targets tonight. Because obviously they're going to have to still throw the ball. You can't run the ball the whole time. I do think it's going to be harder for Henry to run the ball than the last couple times they've gone out here. Mainly, the Steelers are, I can't remember the rookie that they drafted, but the defensive
Derek
lineman,
Harmon.
Derek Harmon. Oh my goodness. I mean, that guy in there changes their, I mean, Kevin Ostreicher from Locked On Ravens has been saying it all week that he changes the entire the rankings for their defense. I mean, they go against the run, they're bottom half of the league when he's not in there. When he's in there, they're the best team in the league against the run. So to me, yes, you have to run the football. But you also are going to have to do some play action plays. And I think Walker, I mean, I'm kind of over the likely thing, but that's usually when, and John, I'll give this to you because I know you're a huge fan, but Isaiah Likely usually comes up when everyone's kind of forgot about it. Like when he had all of that pressure under him and all this stuff to perform, like he's kind of had a disappointing year. This type of game could be the game where he ends up down the seam with a couple big plays.
Yeah, I could definitely see this happening. The likely kind of game he had last year in the first week against the Chiefs, where they are all zeroing in on Derrick Henry, on Andrews, and on Flowers, and likely just kind of almost win. I mean, he loses the game by what, less than a quarter of a cleat length, you know. So I think here's going to be the big thing about getting the ball to Likely is either A, can the offensive line give Lamar enough time to get through his reads, to get to his number 3 or number 4 target in either Hopkins or in Likely, right? Because they're not the number 1 read on any of these plays. But can the offensive line give Lamar enough time that he can find Likely, that he can find Hopkins? And can we get the running game going enough that the play action pass opens up Likely over the middle, Hopkins to the corner, to the fade routes, and things of that nature. But I could definitely see, though, where Likely is going to have a huge breakout game. And then, the one game, I'm not looking forward to the offseason, but that one breakout game today for Likely puts his cap number over what the Ravens can afford for next season.
I have zero interest in even considering who's going to be on this roster next year or whatnot. I'm just really focused on what's here. But I get what you're saying. They're a good performance. Everyone seems to remember that at the end of the year more than anything. Mike, I'm going to throw a couple things at you right now because for me, defensively is even more important than offensively for me tonight. I think a couple things that could happen with Metcalf not being in there is a huge, huge win for the Ravens. And I mean, we don't need to really get into that, but oh, what a moron. But anyway, yeah. So Aaron Rodgers, last time they played, was able to do a couple things with his legs. Makes me nervous a little bit that they didn't expect that last time. So I do think I have enough faith that they won't allow that to happen again this time and try to keep him in there. They do have to make him uncomfortable. And I do think they need to keep an eye on Freiermuth as one of their big, and then obviously the backs, because I mean, those guys have more targets than any of the other wide receivers on the field. So to me, Mike, it's what do you do to Rodgers? Can you make him uncomfortable? I mean, you probably have to blitz the living crap out of things tonight, but then Rodgers is a vet. He's usually good at that. So, I mean, what do you say?
I think Kyle Hamilton needs to make plays. That's how I feel about tonight's game. Like, your big guys got to step up in big situations. Do you think TJ Watt's going to make a play tonight? I sure do. And that's what happens when big guys step up in big situations. I worry about our linebacking core in a sense to cover Freiermuth, whoever's coming up the middle. That scares me a little bit. I worry about containing Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to break away for a 50-yard run. But if he scampers for 8 and gets a first down here and there, that's all they really need to keep the chains moving. That's the kind of offense Pittsburgh has. And Pittsburgh loves to play in these sloppy games. They're not a team that wants to blow you out necessarily. And they feel comfortable. The Ravens have shown this year they don't feel comfortable in those sloppy games where the ball is getting turned over a whole bunch. That's them doing the turning over most of the time. And so for me, the Ravens need to contain. They need to make them travel the entire field to score. They need to create at least 2 turnovers in this game. If they can do those things, if they can create 2 turnovers and not give up the big play, And really, what does Pittsburgh have to create a big play besides a turnover from a defensive end, with a sack fumble, or maybe Calvin Austin could take the lid off here or there, just down the field. That's the guy that I think that with our suspect coverage here, I think Wiggins has looked a little bit shaky recently, and Marlon Humphrey has been Marlon Humphrey, which we all know is just kind of aging cornerback. So there are opportunities for Pittsburgh. I think for them, again, it's just about quick hitter, 8 yards to Freiermuth. All right, you get Tyler or Jaylen Warren, out of the backfield. On a swing pass for 10 yards, and then they get that rhythm, and Aaron Rodgers getting that rhythm in that passing game, that short passing game. That's where we get into trouble. So, can we keep them off rhythm? Can we make them drive longer? Can we get off the field on third down? Can we cause 2 turnovers? I mean, that's really the game.
Yeah, and I do. I think that they need to force them to go deep. They need to take away anything short. That'll completely take them out of the game, and make them take away that middle of the field and just try to, I mean, if they're going to catch anything, 2-3 yards at a clip. It's hard to get a first down. You're only getting 2 yards each time.
Yeah, just real quick, Jason, too, I forgot to mention the fact that who's the running back from Philly that now signed with Pittsburgh, that they're Gainwell. Gainwell had to stay in and chip against Myles Garrett last week. And so he wasn't really a big part of their game plan. He scares me. We have to be short tacklers against Gainwell this week.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I do think, I think the Ravens are the better football team. And I think out of a team that wins tonight that could go on a run, it's the Ravens over the Steelers. However, it's still a Ravens-Steelers game. We talk about the same thing with Kevin. And it's very nerve-wracking just sitting here thinking about it. So, final predictions. John, do you want to give a prediction here, even though I really don't care? I'm just kidding, John. John, are you still alive?
John, I muted you because your keyboard was making noise. Go ahead, try again.
I think it's like...
Just so you all know, I did find all of the sounds. Go ahead, John.
Did you find the sounds that aren't downloaded yet, Jason? There's some even better ones at that point.
John, stay on topic, please.
No, I think it's going to be a 24-21 game with a loop field goal at some point in time at the end.
Oh, God. Mike?
I love the Ravens, but this doesn't feel like their year. So I'm going to say 2017 Pittsburgh.
Oh, my God.
I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. Make me be wrong.
You were wrong with the college football playoffs here the other day, so I'm willing to roll the dice here and take a shot. I don't want to do predictions anymore. I got a feeling here. Oh, by the way, something else I should mention. I have a feeling that Lamar is going to run an awful lot tonight. I think there could be some smoke and mirrors that have been up over the last week or so. Just a thought, he doesn't have Bateman tonight. He's got all the other guys. Offensive line is the offensive line. Again, they turned it around last week against subpar performance there by Green Bay. But I think Lamar runs a lot. I think you see over 50 yards from Lamar tonight, potentially. So I'm going to say Ravens win 24 to, let's do something crazy. 24-21, the Ravens win. But it's not a field goal. No, I don't like that score. I'm going to go 20. I'm going to say 24-14, they win by 10. I want to be different.
That means the defense steps up.
I do think they do. I don't know about your turnovers, Mike. I'm sitting here saying that would be fantastic. But they didn't start turning teams over really till recently. And there is a map to them winning this game with no turnovers on the other end. As long as they don't turn the ball over and they get off the field on third down. I think that's even just as important, Now, am I sitting here saying they need to turn the ball over? Absolutely. I do think there is a path, however. And I hope I'm right, but we'll see. Okay, John, we have, speaking of segments that we have allowed you to do, John out in left field, where he says all kinds of outlandish BS that no one else really agrees or knows what he's talking about, or John just speaks from his heart. But John, here is your 30 seconds of fame.
Okay, so I have two separate ones that I've prepared for tonight.
Did you happen to pass
forget-
this through management before you decided to do all of it?
Well, considering that there's no HR department and we can say fucking shit and whatever
Oh,
on podcasts, it
no.
don't
I thought
matter.
we decided that we
Kids.
do
Oh.
want our
Oh,
children
the children.
to watch
That's
these.
right. That's right. Excuse me. Okay, so I have two separate ones, and I will let you and Mike pick one in the right hand. I have two tabs open of what I've written, and one in my right hand and one in my left hand. You and Mike decide which one you guys want to choose.
Mike,
And then
does he
I'll save
realize
one-
that if he stopped this nonsense, he could probably do both in the time that he is explaining all of this?
Well, they're both about 3 minutes. Both of them are about 3 minutes.
All right.
I wrote it out.
Mike,
So,
do you want the
right or
left hand or
left?
the right hand?
It's out in left field, so I'm thinking the name of the segment should help us out. What do you think?
Left hand.
Left hand. Okay. So the left hand is Charlie Kohler is a much more valuable Ravens player than Isaiah Likely, and he deserves to be on the team next year. Isaiah Likely deserves to be on the Ravens next year, Charlie Kohler deserves to be on the Ravens next year more than Isaiah Likely. And before someone crashes his car pulling over to yell at the podcast, relax. I'm not anti-Isaiah Likely at all, but I do want to win football games. Isaiah Likely is fun. He is exciting. He is an athlete. Charlie Kohler is a big guy, and he is a necessity, just like Pancake Pat. Likely is a highlight tight end, whereas Kohler is your run game doesn't suck. I'm going to knock the guy flat on his butt in front of me tight end. And I know how this goes. Isaiah Likely catches a seam route 1 September, misses a touchdown to beat the Chiefs last year by a cleat. And everyone's like, trade Andrews. Let's build a Likely statue. Meanwhile, Charlie Kohler is out there doing cardio and blocking two dudes at once so that Derrick Henry can get through a hole and get a touchdown. But the Ravens don't need another guy who needs targets. They have Flowers doing safe stuff. They have Andrews feeding in the middle. They have Lamar freelancing into chaos. And they have Derrick Henry, who is the king for a reason. And what they don't need is a tight end who lines up with a wide receiver, waves his arms, says, hey, don't forget about me. That's not Ravens football. That's fantasy football. Charlie Kohler lines up, puts his hand in the dirt, and knocks someone flat on their ass in front of them. You know what that does. It keeps Lamar upright, it keeps linebackers honest, and it opens up holes for Derrick Henry and allows the Ravens to run the football, which is what we've always done. Isaiah Likely blocks like a guy who knows he's going to be on a route next play. Charlie Kohler blocks like a guy who likes to block. And that matters in December. That matters in January. That matters when it's 23 degrees below zero, it's snowing, and we're playing the Chiefs in Kansas City. So let's be real for just a second. If Isaiah Likely wasn't on the Ravens, we'd be saying, man, that dude would be perfect for Miami or the Chargers or literally anywhere that throws the ball 50 times a game. But the Ravens don't live like that. They live in 2 tight end sets, heavy sets, and we're running the football. You know it, and you can't freaking stop it. And in that world, Charlie Kohler is the man we need. Also, coaching staff, John Harbaugh is not keeping a guy around because he's fun on Twitter or doing that. Keep guys around because they don't screw things up. A guy who knows his assignment, knows that he's not an athlete, and knows that he's there to knock somebody flat on their ass.
Okay, John, I'm good. John, I'm going to need you to speak. John, I need you to speak into the microphone.
Yeah, you're losing some gumption there, some gusto.
Okay, so Charlie Kohler is the
good. We're starting over. Good. Okay.
Oh, great.
Coaches sleep at night. Isaiah Likely is please don't improvise here. And look, Likely's going to get paid. He's an athlete. He's a wannabe wide receiver, just not here in Baltimore. He's a better asset than a roster fit. You let him cook elsewhere. Meanwhile, Charlie Kohler stays does the dirty work, and nobody notices until the run game mysteriously starts to work again. Charlie Kolar slips out of the backfield and gets 20 yards down the field because nobody's watching him. Likely drops a pass 20 yards down the field because he's wide open. And if you're the Ravens, you're not chasing September wins. You're chasing one game in February. So yeah, boo me, get mad, tweet about it. But when the Ravens are running downhill in January, Lamar's clean, Derrick Henry's breaking out for 50, 60, 70-yard touchdown runs. Thank Charlie Kolar. And thank me for letting Isaiah Likely go to another team. And I'll take that every freaking time.
Only in Baltimore do we sit here and make cases for our second tight end on the roster. Only in Baltimore. John, I think I gave you the applause way too quickly. I was with you all the way up until you talked about Likely dropping passes and stuff. I mean, look, man, the problem with this whole roster receiver, like pass catchers, including Mark Andrews. I mean, I guess I haven't seen Kolar drop the ball, but his targets are much lower than everybody else. I do agree with that. I do. Like, when it comes down to building a roster and what you have to do, Charlie Kolar also, I mean, significantly less money than Likely, because Likely is a receiving threat first. And that's fine. You know what? Sometimes you do have to let those guys go and continue to build your roster. I mean, the Ravens need playmakers. Like I said, I don't really I'm not too concerned with what happens next year. But you know, John, you do have a very good point there. I mean, Charlie Kolar, and I think I said this a couple weeks ago when we were talking about this, that I thought, I mean, Kolar would come back, Andrews would come back, and Likely would go, and then we would draft a tight end that does what Likely does. Maybe not to that level, but this was a 4th-round draft pick out of Coastal Carolina that you're getting everything at. You can't ask for more from your 4th-round draft pick. Mike, I see that you have something you want to add. I mean, but that's kind of where I'm at. I agree with you, John. It's an important position. I'm one of the also things that we need to be careful what we do as human beings and stuff is when we like players, but it's time for them to go or we sign someone else, all of a sudden we turn our backs and crap on that other guy. It's like, oh yeah, Kyle Schwarber, he sucked. I didn't want him. Let's go Pete Alonso. No, we would have been happy with Kyle Schwarber. So yes, if Likely leaves, he's a good player. He's a great Raven. Love it. But you can only keep so many guys on the team and what fits for your system. Go ahead, Mike.
No, number one, I think when we allow John to collect his thoughts and put them on paper, he makes a lot more sense. So I think we got to do that more often, number one. But John, I don't disagree with you in the conversation of Likely over Kolar at this point. I don't think the argument was really ever Likely over Kolar. I think it was Likely or Andrews. And the fact that they already, extended Mark Andrews, there's no decision left to be made. We need a pass catching tight end and we need a blocking tight end. And you already have your pass catching tight end and Mark Andrews, unless you're going to try to have him slide into the Kolar spot. And that's really the only other option and keep Likely. But the fact of the matter is Likely is going to be number one, too expensive. And number two, you're going to get a pick for Likely. I mean, I know that we talked to our buddy Kevin Allstriker, and he said, stop worrying about the picks that you're getting for free agents that leave, which I understand that. But the truth of the matter is you're going to get a pick for him, and that's one you might be happy with. That would be one you accept because he's probably going to sign a pretty good deal. He's got to be one of the top 3 to 5 tight ends on the market, I assume, going into the offseason. I haven't seen any projections, but I think Kyle Pitts is a free agent maybe. He's going to get a lot of money, but I think right behind them is probably Isaiah Likely.
Well, here's the thing with Andrews, too, is Andrews is a good blocker. He's a much better blocker than Likely. Andrews isn't afraid to get in there and get dirty because he did that stuff at Oklahoma, too. They ran a similar style offense of pound the ball out in that Big 12 back then. So, Andrews, I think, is a better overall fit in the Ravens system than Likely is, where Likely is a much more, new school tight end who's more of a big-bodied wide receiver who can line up at the end.
Yeah. I remember draft day. I remember Mike was actually talking about Isaiah Likely, and he's like, there's this guy in the later rounds. And that was the year we had like 4 4th-round draft picks. And he's like, so he drafts this guy. I was like, holy crap. Okay. So you start looking at this guy and then just slowly but surely, it's easy to be it's easy to be the guy when no one's expecting you. But when Andrews was out, he did step up year after, or pardon me, game after game, especially when and Andrews had that terrible injury. So, I mean, he can definitely carry a team at that position. That's not the thing. It's just you have decisions to make, and unfortunately, re-signing Andrews does make this team a little older than it probably should be offensively. So they do have to then counteract that by going out and getting younger offensively as well. So, okay, John, did you have anything else you wanted to add to your wonderful segment?
Well, the other one I had was things that are more predictable than the Ravens-Steelers game.
Oh, boy.
I can go through that list real quick if you guys are interested. I'd like to get your comments on this.
Okay,
So
let's
things
go.
more
I don't know why I
predictable
do
than
this
the
to
Ravens.
myself, but...
Okay, so number one is the Maryland weather. Number two is a dad saying I'm fine after a bad play. Number three is a kid or an animal knocking something off the table. Number four is someone literally dropping the ball right in their hands. Number five is gas prices going up on a Monday. 6 is a toddler refusing to eat what you cooked. 7, someone leaving a store without buying what they went in for or forgetting what they went in for. And number 8, the sun rising in the east. And I had points under each of those.
We'll let that linger. Let that linger.
Oh, John. I am so
I
glad
worked
we
hard
chose
on
the
this.
left hand mic.
I worked hard on these, Jason.
So Isaiah
wrote my-
Likely is when he's off schedule, he's great, and when
All right,
Lamar has a lot of time to find him, he's wonderful. But when Lamar doesn't have time to get to him, that's what happens. John, great job.
Thank you. Give me
Well done,
time.
John.
Ready. I can do them well.
Outstanding. All right. Well, just a few more segments tonight so that we can get ourselves emotionally prepared for the Ravens Steelers tonight. The other thing we should talk about are the Baltimore Orioles. Not a whole lot's been going on. We've kind of hit a stall here in free agency, other than I know the Blue Jays just made another addition, grabbing the Japanese third baseman. I can't even remember the guy's name. He's fabulous, apparently. No, but he is, I guess, one of the premier power hitting guys out in Japan. So we'll see if that translates to major leagues into Toronto. That makes me a little nervous, Mike. That the
Okamoto, Jason. Okamoto.
Perfect. That is correct.
There you go.
So Okamoto adding a third baseman, then not allowing or not depending on Barger to have to fill in there. Now they can move him around more in different spots, and they're still in there for Tucker and Bo Bichette. A good chance they can sign both of them. They seem to be able to print money out there in the Canada. But I don't know, Mike. It's making me a little anxious about other teams in the East getting better. Now, by other teams, it's really the only team that's making moves besides the Orioles. But it does make me a little nervous. So I'm not sure how you feel. Are you ready for something more, or where are you at?
Well, I'm definitely ready for something more. I think the Orioles will do something more at some point. Just a stall altogether. If you really are following Major League Baseball, there's not a ton going on around the league. I'm sure that behind the scenes, there's definitely negotiating, and there are probably ideas for trades still being kicked around. But at this moment, I think not only have many of the starting pitcher dominoes, that the dominant starting pitcher dominoes haven't fell yet, but there's a whole tier below that really that haven't dropped into place either. So there's a lot out there still on the open market, which I think once that kind of settles in, then you might see some more trades when people aren't able to get who they want to at those spots. You asked me about Toronto. I mean, it just makes them a deeper team. I mean, and to be able to play Barger at multiple positions and to have him as a depth piece and not reliant on him. And obviously that depends on how well, what was his name? Masamoto there, John, what was it?
Akamoto.
How well Akamoto,
Okamoto.
how well he is able to, kind of get into the Major League Baseball scene and kind of come on board and see how quickly either pitchers adjust to him or he adjusts to pitchers. So I think that's going to be a big key to that success. And if they don't, though, they have Barger, so they can plug and play that, or maybe they go and they sign Bregman. I don't know. There's still players out there all over the place, and I think a lot of dominoes have yet to fall. And like you said, Jason, I'm kind of I want to see something happen. I'm chomping at the bit. I want to see some of these dominoes fall so we can kind of know which way the Orioles will go. And I think a lot of that's dependent on what happens in the open market over the next couple of weeks, because what are we, like a month and a half maybe away for spring training?
Yeah, and the one thing about the Boris guys is that they usually are very patient. I mean, sometimes that's to the detriment of the player. If you guys remember, Jordan Montgomery a couple years ago fired Scott Boris because he's like, "What are you doing? Like, this is," because he was trying to slow play everything. And I get that. I mean, it's all part of the game. But specifically, the pitching market has really slowed down. We had Tatsuyami Amai the other day signed with Houston, which was somewhat of a surprise. I know that one was a 3-year deal, but he can opt out at the end of every year. I think he can make as much as $24 million a year with all the incentives and whatnot, which is fine. I thought the Orioles were more in him. It just proves to me more and more how the Orioles are just so far under the radar that really it's like you can't really like narrow down exactly what they're trying to do. They're just so quiet about it, and I'm not against that. I think that's yeah. The reporters get pissed off, and angry people on the AM side of the dial in Baltimore are very bitter about their lives, and they just want to complain about everything that the Orioles do and how they're quiet. I'm all about it. Bring it on. But now, with that being said, it really does come down to the two key free agents, Framber Valdez and Suarez from Philadelphia. And I mean, John, it's again, we're at a stall here. Mike did mention Valdez. I did make a comment about I just don't see it happening. The more that this develops, and players start shrinking, more and more teams are in on just a few players.
Yeah, the Orioles just, it seems like every time they put smoke out there, it's just smoke. There's no fire actually behind the smoke. There's something else working in the room. So they're like we said, they're gonna have to get another starting pitcher or two. I would love to see either Valdez come in, but again, so like you said, there's 32 teams, and there's only a handful of starting pitchers left once you get into mid-January, beginning of February. So you're either going to get desperate players looking for a team, or you're going to get desperate teams overpaying for a player, and then where the Orioles going to be on. Well, they just going to say, you know what, we got what we need. If we're in contention at the All-Star break or at the trade deadline, do we try to grab somebody at that point in time, use what we have at AAA, and roll with what we have? So I guess that remains to be seen in the next, about 45 days or so before spring training starts.
Yeah, I mean, and we're getting to the point, Mike, now that even the players, I know that they're creatures of habit, especially pitchers, and they would like to know where they're going to be so they can start making plans, figuring things out, and get back into their routines. The longer this goes on, I mean, there's a lot of uncomfortableness there. I will tell you, though, Framber Valdez specifically, I know the Giants are now in on that. It's hard for me to think that the Giants are going to go. There's going to be an offseason with the Giants don't have some sort of impact on something. Now, whether it's going to make them a really good team or not, I don't know. But they always seem to be players in free agency. Valdez, I just keep hearing things from some folks that I have a lot of respect for that makes it seem like the Orioles are not really interested. And then the Suarez thing is the 7 years. He is apparently stuck on 7 years, and no one in Major League Baseball is willing to touch that right now. Now, maybe a 5th year or like 5 years with an option, potentially. And I had heard something, I don't know the truth of it because I don't know if I necessarily trust the source, but that the Orioles had made an offer in the 150 range for Suarez. Now, I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. But I do think that for him, Mike, he's sitting on that 7-year wish list, and I don't really know if that's ever going to get filled.
If I am hearing that, the Orioles are going after those guys and the deal is way more than 5 years, 150, and they tried options and things and they don't get these guys, I'm okay with it. Like, I feel like that is the price point right now. If you look at what Dylan Cease got at 7 years, 210, you look at what some of these other guys are getting at 3 years for the most part in the $20 million range. It's right where Suarez and Valdez should land based on their performance. So if the Orioles decide not to get those guys, I'm not going to be upset. I'm only going to be upset then if they don't pivot and find somebody on the trade market that's equally as valuable as one of those guys. If you don't see them go after a Peralta or a Joe Ryan or somebody that could be a top 2-3 starter, which we've been talking about for a long time, because I don't see Bods as that. I see him as a project. I see him as like Trevor Rogers from a couple years ago, but I don't see him in the same light I saw the Corbin Burns trade. So if you get somebody, and Corbin Burns is one of a kind, so I don't want to necessarily say Corbin Burns, but if you get someone maybe just a step below him, then I see them pivoting to the trade market. If they don't see the numbers they're looking for in free agency, if they're not reasonable, I don't want to give Ranger Suarez 7 years guaranteed. I mean, I don't want to, someone who doesn't throw particularly hard. He's a good pitcher. He's not a great pitcher. He's not Scooble. He's not Skeens. Those are the guys who should be looking at the 7 to 10 year market. Ranger Suarez is not that guy. Framber Valdez, honestly, is not that guy.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have heard me talk. I am not in any camp ever here that will agree that we should be giving 6 or 7 years to a pitcher. 6 years as an option year, maybe. 5 years is really my limit. I mean, especially in a market where it's like I'm still going to go out on a limb here, and I might be the only one, but I don't think that Valdez or Suarez are better than Kyle Bradish. I really don't. I think Kyle Bradish is the ace of this team if those are the guys they bring in. Even if they bring in a Peralta, I still like Bradish better. I really do. And I mean, if you look at Valdez has had more years than Bradish, but if you look at their ERAs, their best years and whatnot, they're pretty similar, except Bradish is top 4 in Cy Young, right? I'm not swinging saying that I wouldn't. If they sign Valdez tomorrow for $175 million in 5 years, I'm on board. That means they did their due diligence. They did everything they were supposed to. And that's the guy that they brought in. Now with Suarez, I do think if you look, he's put on a couple extra pounds over the last couple years and his velocity went down. But he is one hell of a postseason pitcher, which both of these guys have pitched in the World Series. They have both been on playoff rosters, extensive playoff rosters. So that speaks volumes to me as well. I personally am starting to pivot here in my own brain, Mike. And I do think, and John, I do think that they are going to end up doing a trade again. I wouldn't close the door on the Mackenzie Gore situation. As I mentioned a couple weeks ago, Washington needs a first baseman. Kobe Mayo happens to play first base. It's going to take a lot more than Mayo. It may take something similar to Bods because of the years of control that they have. But I think they can make it happen. When I look at Peralta, I don't see a match there because they have one of the best young outfields in baseball. They don't want any of our outfielders in my mind. Know what they do need? Holiday. Am I willing to give up Holiday for a 1-year rental? Absolutely not. I don't care who it is. Well, okay, I lied. I would probably do it for Scooble. But that would be it. No one else. So, yeah, John, I mean, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Skeens.
Yeah, I know. Your boyfriend. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Livy might be upset at you, John.
Yeah. Well, I'll just take Livy. That'll work it all itself out. But yeah, and I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Do you think that they're thinking, you know what, we need to get another tier 2 guy, that we already have the one in Bradish or Rogers already on the roster? That, you know, obviously a number 1 starter coming in is not going to hurt you, but do you think that they're comfortable with what we already have? I think they are. I think even if we don't bring anyone else in, I think that they're comfortable with the roster and the starting rotation that we have. And they could look like geniuses if Bradish and Rogers both go out there and throw like a top tier starter, so, you know, like Rogers did last year, you know, with the Cy Young numbers towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I do think that they're more comfortable. I don't think that they're 100% comfortable. I think the Eflin thing, the Eflin signing brings a little bit more relief for depth purposes. I do think they want a top of the rotation guy, but when I say top of the rotation, it doesn't mean necessarily an ace, because no one's giving up their aces out there. Like, I'm sorry, Paul Skeens isn't going anywhere. They're trying to build that offense. At least he's not going anywhere this year. Scooble, that's still a question mark, right? But no other team are dealing number one. I'm the best. Like I am a number one pitcher type situation. Not number one on their team, but a number one guy. Those guys aren't available unless you want to give up half your farm system. So I do think a guy like even a Peralta, again, that would be a 2 or 3. They're looking for a guy like that. They're looking for Mackenzie Gore, who could be him and Boz are very similar. And I mean, I wouldn't be upset either way. I do have a feeling, Mike, that the pitcher that they go after might be left-handed, though.
I would love to see another lefty in this rotation. I'm worried about, John, you asked the question, are the Orioles comfortable? Maybe they could be. I'm not comfortable because I feel like Boz is maybe a replacement for Grayson Rodriguez, basically, to me. He's a different version of Grayson Rodriguez. And you got Zach Eflin back, who you had last year. So what have you really done, honestly, besides now you have a healthy Kyle Bradish in your rotation, obviously, which is a lot different than last year, and Trevor Rogers. But I'm saying I need at least more depth. If you're not going to go and go high end, they better go at least get another pitcher or two to fill out in case something happens with injury with one of these guys. I think they have a plan that we don't know about, Jason, I think, for one of these arms to go into the bullpen. I don't know if it's Tyler Wells. I don't know if it's Cade Povich. I think they see one of those guys, if not both of those guys, as potential bullpen arms. And if that's the case, then you definitely need to add depth to your starting rotation. So I see that as a potential. And I do think that a lefty is more likely than a righty as far as who we're going to bring in here. Now, with names like Scooble and Skeens, God, that would be a dream. That would be amazing. I don't see it happening. I would love to see it happen. But I do think things need to start moving because if things don't start moving, how is a team that trades somebody like that, like Peralta, Scooble, Skeens, Ryan, any of those guys, they have to be able to pivot to their plan B at some point, and then you're going to come into spring training. So things need to start moving, I think, within the next week or two. You're going to see a bunch of stuff go down.
Let me throw something out at you real quick, and then we'll move on to our final segment. But I don't have I know nothing on this one. This is just thinking outside the box. What if the Orioles had reached out or been in talks with the Braves for Chris Sale? What if we're looking at this whole thing wrong? What if they're, the Braves are, I mean, I know they're trying to compete this year and whatnot, but maybe they have something else. Maybe they sign one of these guys and then they deal Sale to the Orioles for a bunch of prospects. Something like that. Now, I know Mayo wouldn't do a lot for them because they have Olsen out there. But just a thought of thinking of guys that are bona fide aces on teams that may be willing to part ways with. Like I don't. The longer this goes on, Mike, I think if the Twins were going to trade Ryan, they would have already traded him. I think that new ownership group that just took over that team. I think they are locked into what they have, and they're going to give it a shot. And maybe during the trade deadline is when they move those type of guys. But I don't know. Just a thought outside the box, Mike. Clearly would make this rotation a lot better. Some injury concerns, yes, but I know he's like, 36, 37, but I would take it.
Yeah, he's 36 years old right now. And, that's old for anybody. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess that would be Verlander, Scherzer kind of thing to me. Sale might be a little better than those guys right now, but you could go sign either of those two guys for whatever you want to at this point if you want to really fill out that rotation rather than giving up pieces for Chris Sale, who's 36 years old. Like, I don't know that I would do that.
Oh, but he had a 2.58 ERA last year. 7 wins, 5 losses.
So did Rogers.
We're not talking about giving up Rogers, John. What are you talking about?
No, I know, but I'm saying we're already on the roster.
But you need another pitcher, dude. What are you talking about?
Well, like what I'm saying is they were talking about it on Locked On Orioles the other day, and I read a couple other places that they're very comfortable with what they have at AAA, that they may bring in a second or third tier person. And Sale, obviously at 37 is going to be a 1 year, and that's not a Charlie Morton type deal with a guy like Sale.
Guys, I think you're underrating this guy a lot more. I mean, he's just in 2024, 18 wins, 2.38 ERA. I mean, he isn't at the Verlander Scherzer level, Okay, those guys are a little older. They're about 5 or 6 years older. They're both in their 40s. So he's got about 5 years younger than these guys. And again, he does have some injury concerns. And I'm not so sure the Braves are ready to part with him. But it's just a thought in my mind on whether they can do it. And I don't know what his contract is. I thought they
It's
actually picked
18
up an
million for
option.
next year, Jason.
That's a
And
steal.
it is. I think they have him on a club option for this coming season.
Right.
I see what you're saying. I really do. I just worry because, I mean, we're talking about Suarez and Valdez pitching into their age 36 season and worrying about the tail end of their career. I know they are not the caliber that Chris Sale was in his prime. But I think I just have a little bit of concern just because of his age and the injury issue. I guess that's my honest opinion. If they did it, would I feel better than I did right now? Probably. But I don't know that that's the route I want them to go. I'd much rather have a younger pitcher for a few more years if they can do that.
I also think the Shane Baz, I'm much higher on it than you guys are. And again, I feel the same way I did when they brought in Rogers. When you identify a guy and bring him into your system and are able to make those changes, I mean, this guy's got eighth like potential, and they have him for the next 3 years with a question mark of whether they'll have Rogers after this year. And you need guys like that. That's why Mackenzie Gore is very intriguing to me. I just, as someone that plays a lot of fantasy baseball, yes, he was helpful in fantasy baseball, but I mean, this guy still isn't quite there as far as some of these other guys. So if they want to bring in a guy like that, that'd be terrific. John, what do you want?
Well, I've been saying that I liked Boz, that Boz has had 1 year of big league coming off of the injury, that we don't even know what he is yet. That I said this last time, that he could be with the stuff, with the upper 90s fastball and the other pitches. He could be, an ace type pitcher, that we could end up with 3 aces in our 1, 2, 3, and then, Kramer and whoever else on the last 2 slots.
Yeah, I mean, look, the question, I guess, is what we've been talking about. Do they make a move? Yes, they will be making a move. Is it for Chris Bassett, or is it for Ranger Suarez, Mackenzie Gore, someone along those lines? I do think it's important that they go out and get somebody with some control. You want to be able to ease that tension that you're going to have to be dealing with here at some point. All right. So that will bring us to our final segment. Mike says we are playing a quick game. What is it? One of, I believe it's Julie's second cousin, twice removed, uncle's husband. Gave
No,
you this
Julie's
game?
uncle who just posted, Mike DeMarco.
Oh, hi,
Just
Mike.
hey Mike, thanks for joining us tonight. Gave me an idea of a student sent to him that he's a former teacher, which is to kind of talk about this Ravens Steelers rivalry, and it kind of fits right in with tonight's game, which is, can we name players that played both on the Ravens and the Steelers at some point in their career? And the way that I'm going to do this game is we're just going to go back and forth between John and Jason, and you're going to get a chance to name a player that played for both the Ravens and the Steelers. I have a list of 32 players. I think it's pretty comprehensive. And
Stump the Schwab style.
Exactly. You guys have to, I'll give you a reasonable amount of time, but at some point there will have to be a limit because the listeners will get tired of hearing the dead air. So we'll go back and forth, and whoever is unable to come up with somebody will be the big loser. And whoever is will be tonight's winner. Sound good, boys?
Absolutely.
All
Jason,
right,
hands praying, or
I'm writing down my players. Leave me alone.
All right, so let's see. I got a number between 1 and 5. John, what do you got?
3.
Jason?
2.
It is 3. John, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first. I'll go with Rod Woodson.
Okay.
Cordell Stewart.
Yep.
Patrick Queen.
Correct.
Carnell Lake.
Yes, that's a good one.
Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, man. His amazing Ravens career. I wanted him like 4 years sooner, I feel like. That would have been great.
Eric Green.
Correct. 96 to 98. with the Ravens. Eric Green, 90-94 with the Steelers.
You said there was 30 of these guys?
There's 32 at least.
32. Oh, Villanueva.
Yes. The tackle.
Alejandro.
James Harrison.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shoot. My brain has just had a fart, and it smells terrible.
I mean, did James Harrison play on the Ravens active roster?
I didn't know that. I just thought it was like in their organization. I didn't know.
Yeah, because I don't think he's on my list, but I get what you were saying because I definitely know
Yeah.
he came from the Ravens. I'm down with that. John, what do you
He
got?
was cut from their practice squad.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see, who else? I'm going through my list of.
There's another
people.
one with the same last name that Jason.
Oh,
just
yes. Malik Harrison.
Malik what? Harrison. There you go.
Why did you
Yeah.
give that man a clue? He was
I'm
about
just
to be
trying to help
wrong.
him a little bit. Jason, you know
The
he needs
Ohio
help.
State. The Ohio State.
He needs help leveling the playing field a little, Jason.
Oh my goodness!
Right there,
gracious.
Jason. My dad hasn't talked to me since I sent him a selfie like this.
Why would you send him a selfie like that? You're an Ohio State fan too.
Kind of, not like
You're
that.
such a terrible son.
I only like Ohio State when they're winning. When they're not winning.
Oh my
I don't think
God.
that's
What is wrong with you,
Who admits that, first of all? That's horrible.
John?
Oh, well. Brain injury.
All right,
All
I
right,
am
Jason, you're
drawing a blank here.
I guess I got to give you a hint. There's a couple of safeties.
Yeah, I think there's one that was just on the active roster, wasn't he?
Bunch of defensive backs. A wide receiver. I have it's about the same amount of time as this podcast takes.
Oh crap! Didn't we just? Isn't there an active safety on their team that we had a couple years ago?
Yes.
I can't remember
believe
who it
so.
was.
I don't know
now.
if he's safety or slot corner.
Oh God, it's Oh, oh, I can't ever remember this guy's name. He gave up the catch to Kelsey in the AFC Championship game. Oh man, I don't know, man. I'm drawing a blank.
All right. We'll give John a pseudo victory because I had to give him a hint. So I don't think anybody.
Right, I was
really
about to
wanted this.
win.
Jason is going to play under protest if we call John
I
the
am.
winner. So,
John had no idea. John was done.
are you talking
I
about
wasn't.
Arthur Mollett?
I
Is that
am.
what you're talking about?
Well,
Yeah, Arthur
that's what I
Mollett.
was thinking. That was going to be my
So-
next guess.
The 60-minute clue, which is how long a podcast takes. Who's got that one?
I didn't know you were giving me a clue.
Yeah, 60 minutes.
Oh, is that
Mike
Pouncey?
Mike
No.
Wallace? You guys, Mike Wallace?
Wallace.
No,
Yeah,
the
Mike
show 60
Wallace.
minutes. All right.
Yep.
Mike
Yeah.
Wallace.
Forgot
Here's a
about
couple
him.
others that you might have forgotten about.
Thanks, Mike. Mike just gave us a compliment. Said you guys have already done better than I would have done. Good
Yep,
job.
there you go. How
Thanks,
about
Mike.
Jacoby Jones? There's one.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
He had
I would not have
2015
guessed.
with the Steelers. Remember, after he was here, you have Chris Wormley, who played in Baltimore and in Pittsburgh.
Uh-huh.
Fitzgerald Toussaint. That's one that
Oh,
you might
yeah.
have forgotten.
Fitz.
You have, John Simon,
Oh, the other one. Oh, Bam Morris. I forgot
Bam Morris. Bam's on the list.
I didn't
Some
know
of these
him.
other guys, I'm not so sure you would have gotten. Chuck Clark. played
Yeah, that's
with
the one I was
the
trying to
Ravens and
think
the
of.
Steelers.
Oh,
That's the one I was trying to think
yes.
of.
Who this guy was going to be the breakout receiver forever for the Ravens, Miles Boykin, and
Yeah,
he
I
did not
remember.
become that. He also played in Pittsburgh. How about safety Deshaun Elliott, who
Yeah.
has played both for Pittsburgh and Baltimore? There's been a lot recently. LJ Fort, linebacker, who's played both in Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Another wide receiver, Deontay Johnson, which
Yeah.
has
Oh
played
God.
in, oh yeah, you remember that. Steven Johnson, Desmond King, Anthony Miller, wide receiver, who's played for both as well. So those are just a few names to kind of stir the rivalry for tonight's game, maybe bring back some memories and You know, the Steelers are infamous for just grabbing someone off our practice squad to just bring up for a Ravens Steelers game and vice versa, because this is the best rivalry in the NFL.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, that's why it's on Sunday Night Football. All right. Well, again, keys to the night: clean football, just like the last few weeks. Clean football on the Ravens end. Score, Mike says, score first, score quickly, score often. And allow the other team to score
Run the
less
football
points than
after you score early and often. Run it.
And if you score more points
Effectively.
than the other team, you have a good chance of winning. So we'll go with that. All right. Well, for John Lanscraner, for Mike Frisky, I'm Jason Weisbecker. Go Ravens. Orioles do something. And we will see you next time.
Don't forget to subscribe to Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports on Red Circle, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your free podcasts. And while you're at it, leave us a review. It really helps us out. We're trying to spread the good word about Baltimore sports far and wide. Follow us on social media for more behind-the-scenes actions, memes, and bad sports takes. You can find us at Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports on Instagram, and Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports on our Facebook page. Until next time, keep rocking those dad bods, eating those crab cakes, and never miss the game.